It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Croc Talk TV podcast. Peace. Welcome to another episode of Croc Talk TV. I am your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about CJ Henderson. Available for trade? What? After, 1 year? Come on, man. So we got to get into all that and more. But first, make sure you guys, if you're not already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button. And if you haven't already, download Underdog Fantasy app. Promo code Crocky. It's going to get you an additional $25 to whatever you deposit when you start off. There are all kind of cool stuff. Fantasy football, fantasy baseball, basketball, all type of player props, all type of they got this pick 'em thing where you can pick who you think is going to do better that game, and they play the same position, all kind of cool stuff. So again, underdogfantasy.com, promo code Crocky. Go do that right now, or do that after you hit the subscribe and like button. All right, but CJ Henderson, bro, what the hell? So the news broke while BD Peacock and I were recording Locked On 49ers. So for those of you guys who follow me on the regular, y'all know I'm one of the co-hosts of Locked On 49ers with my guy, Brian Peacock. Make sure y'all listen, man. Get us back up to number one on the whole, across the whole platform, man. We should be number one on there, all right, on the whole Locked On network. Man, I think we done dropped to like number 3 or something crazy like that. All right, get us back to number one, man. 49ers podcast, that's where we belong. But anyways, my phone starts going off. I checked the internet, and while we're recording, I'm like, damn. I'm like, bro, CJ Henderson's available for trade? What? Like, why? And there are a few things that come to my mind, all right? But first, let's talk about who CJ Henderson is, all right? Obviously, a cornerback out of Florida. There was a lot of, or most people just felt right off the bat, like, no, 100% it is Jeff Okuda. He is the number one corner in this class. And I was like, Okuda's tight. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, Okuda's tight. But he was not my number one guy. My number one guy was CJ Henderson. And to me, I don't want to say that it wasn't like close or anything like that, but there's a few things you got to look at and take into account when we're talking about these prospects, right? And a lot of it is like, what type of natural talent does this guy have, especially if you're taking him in the top, all right? Now, there were things that people really missed with CJ Henderson, and I saw somebody in here that said, hey, Croc was high on CJ last year. I was, man. Like, there were things that you got to take into account. What this guy was asked to do, who he was asked to guard, what conference are they playing in. Then you start to look at measurables, height, weight, speed. What does that look like? How does he stack up with the competition? And you start to kind of take all these things into consideration when you look at CJ Henderson. All right. And I'm like, man, this is the best prospect in the class. Now, that's not to say that he had 100% the best film, right? I thought Jeffrey Okuda's was a little cleaner, but from a standpoint of what he was asked to do, what type of talent he possesses, to me, it was clear. CB1. We're talking about when he playing against LSU, he's following around Jamar Chase. And for most of the game, held him to 3 catches, 25 yards or something crazy like that until they did stupid pick play and ran off for a touchdown. But, I mean, he played tremendous for that entire game. And there were a lot of people that didn't really understand that aspect of it, the context with how well he played and what he was asked to do, all right, especially in that division. Well, anyways, he gets drafted. I was like, man, this is a top 10 corner. And if I'm taking the guy number one, or like the first guy I'm taking, especially if I'm the Lions, because they started talking about the Lions potentially drafting a cornerback at number 3, and they were saying Jeffrey Okuda. And I'm like, Okuda, I like him a lot. I just don't think he's that caliber guy to where I would draft him that high, especially at the cornerback position. Especially if they plan on using Okuda like they utilized Darius Slay, who was there previously. And they drafted Okuda. And I was like, I don't care for that fit. I didn't think the fit matched. I didn't think Okuda was a pure man-to-man guy like that. Obviously, he had a terrific skill set. But with what he was asked to do, with the way he kind of measured in height, weight, speed, all that type of stuff, He looked more to me like a guy that would be tremendous in an offense that allows him to do a lot of press bailing, reading down route concepts. I thought he'd do those things extremely well, as opposed to CJ Henderson, who I thought definitely has some versatility. But if you're looking for somebody to be like more of a man-to-man guy, more of a guy that you want to have follow guys and have that high-end athleticism to where it doesn't matter the type of player he's guarding, he would do well, right? Or at least give you that upside in ability. Well, Jacksonville drafted. What's good, y'all? What's good, Croc? Love your Twitter space. Hey, thanks, man. That's my guy. Jacksonville. They drafted Henderson. Lions drafted Okuda. I really feel like those guys should have flip-flopped. I know my internet's dipping, y'all. I'm getting new Wi-Fi coming in. I'm sorry, y'all. Just gonna have to deal with it for this episode and maybe a couple more episodes. We'll see. But anyways, I thought they should have flip-flopped with who they were drafted. Now, crazy thing is, both of those teams are out, right? Like the coaching staffs from both of those teams gone, and that's a weird thing when you're picking guys in the top 10. The changes just happen. All right. Now, what's going on to where CJ Henderson isn't? What's going on to where CJ Henderson is available for trade? There's a couple of things that came to mind. All right, one, he's dealt with injuries, right? He dealt with an injury last year, shoulder labrum injury. I think he only played in 9 games last year. That doesn't matter from the standpoint of why they are potentially trading him. The big issue is sometimes when you get a new coaching staff and they have their way of how they want to do things or what they think fits what they want to do or personalities and whatnot, all those things start to come into play here. So you look at some moves that Jacksonville made. One, off the bat, they signed Griffin from the Seahawks, cornerback. I know he had made a Pro Bowl. He wasn't one of my favorite corners in the free agency. I mean, he was all right, competitive. He competes, but I don't think that he really, made that big of a difference as far as, you having CJ Henderson and whatnot. But then they went and drafted Tyson Campbell at the top of the 2nd round. And I thought that was a little strange. I'm like, man, you got CJ Henderson. He was your 9th overall pick the previous year. I know you weren't part of the staff that took him, but I know, you know what I'm saying, you got him though. And then you signed Griffin, free agency, gave Griffin good money. Then you go and draft Tyson Campbell at the top of the 2nd round. First pick in the 2nd round, I believe. That was all very interesting to me and very intriguing. So I'm like, all right, doesn't make sense to me, but we'll see. And then you hear this news comes out, and they potentially want to trade him. And the first thing I thought of was there's some kind of mix up here. Something's not meshing with him, whether it's the coaching staff, whether it's Urban Meyer, whether it's the secondary coach. Urban Meyer talked to Dan Mullen before. He's good friends with Dan Mullen. He knew what he was getting with CJ Henderson, but maybe, I mean, the draft pick had already been made. Now you got to deal with what's, you know what I'm saying, the hand that you're dealt. You guys lost me? Are you guys following me? Is my connection that bad? Is it breaking up? I don't know why is my connection is so bad. All right, I'm back. All right. Dang, I don't even know where I left off. This dang Wi-Fi, man. But anyways, where was the connection lost? Right? You got the guy that was drafted number 9th overall. All right. You got a guy drafted 9th overall. You sign Griffin from Seattle. You draft Tyson Campbell, top of the 2nd round, first pick in the 2nd round. All those things start to, it didn't make sense to me at the time, but maybe all along, they didn't care for CJ Henderson. Now, the issues with this is we don't know what conversations have been had. How is he attacking his medical, the surgical shoulder, right? He had the injury. Maybe they didn't like the way he was going about that. I don't even want to speculate, but there's some kind of mix up. And I've been seeing reports lately of him riding the bike and whatnot, wasn't participating in practice. And I mean, that shoulder injury is not something that is just really easy to come back from. Like, a lot of rehab that goes into that and all that. So it's all intriguing. And that leads me to, who's going to be interested in trading for him? Will the 49ers be interested in trading for CJ Henderson? One, let's talk about what his draft capital, what kind of draft capital you want in return, or maybe a player. All right. So what is Jacksonville looking for? I couldn't tell you their roster like the back of my hand or anything like that, but I think they have a pretty legit young roster, up and coming. Just drafted running back first round, had a running back that ran very well last year that they got undrafted, so that was weird. They're doing a lot of weird stuff. I didn't understand them drafting ETN first round when you had a rookie that was undrafted at running back, and he ran extremely well. Then you go and draft somebody first round. The value there, I don't know, is not matching up to me. Then they say they're going to put him at receiver. Then they draft Tyson Campbell, and they talking about cross-training Tyson Campbell and putting him at corner and slot. And I'm like, Tyson Campbell, his movement skills don't say that of a slot. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things that Jacksonville is doing that I don't necessarily agree with. But what's it going to take to get CJ Henderson? If I had to guess, I'd say they're going to want it first. But people are going to ask, why are you trading them? Why are you trading somebody who's 6'1", 205, ran a 4.3, had a decent rookie year? Obviously, he had his ups and downs. And rookie corners, that's a tough position to come into the NFL and just hit the ground running. It's tough for corners. And I'm going to tell you why. And just from my experience being in the NFL defense, they start to throw things at you that you don't really deal with in college. In college, a lot of things are spread out. All right. A lot of things are spread out. Guys just line up and they just go. It is what it is. Right. In the NFL, you got different splits, tight splits, motions, and everything that they do. There's an adjustment to it, and it changes the defense that you're in. All right. So, or not changes the defense, but it changes your responsibility. So I remember being there, and you got to remember there's multiple ways to defend a specific look. So a team can line up and we can be in fire zone 3, and then that guy motion down tight. My responsibility as a corner in fire zone 3 is different than my responsibility would be in a sky 3. Or what if it's man and then they motion down? What if they motion down, then the guy motions across? Now instead of 3 to my side, I got 2 to my side. Do I count the running back to my side? Like, there are all type of different things that I think a lot of people don't really think about when it comes to playing the cornerback position. But it can be confusing and not really play as fast. So those were some of the things that I remember dealing with. And I'm like, man, I got to adjust to this, adjust to that. Then you're starting to have different route combinations thrown at you. And every team attacks the weaknesses in coverage is different, right? So like those things possess issues for you. So as a cornerback, like especially a rookie, you're going to go through ups and downs really from a mental standpoint, not even like the physical aspect of it. The physical aspect of it, like you'll catch up to that. But I think CJ Henderson playing, this zone scheme that Jacksonville was having, like he had some ups and downs, but he made some plays on the ball, right? So what's his draft? What are they going to want for him? And that's tough. When it's a team that didn't draft you, they might not want that much. I mean, we saw in a lot of 49ers, I was just about to talk about this. I was just about to say this. I was going to say, we talk about the 49ers, and for AJ Jenkins and John Baldwin, they were both like first-round picks. And then teams just swapped. I don't know what that was about, but they just swapped. So sometimes and that was after 1 year. So sometimes teams will be willing to just get rid of a guy. For whatever reason, I don't know why. Maybe it's just not working or whatever, but they're willing to get rid of him for less. So when you look at CJ Henderson, I think ideally they want some sort of a first for him, especially considering what they've already paid to him. And I think I saw something in here that says, where was it? Then you guys been in here going in. I saw somebody that talked about it a little bit. Man, I can't see it, but I saw some percentages of the money that they've already paid to him. Oh, here we go, right here. Boom. Interesting. From PFF, Jacksonville already paid 64% of his contract, and he has 3 years left. And So team, 3 years, 75, like $7 million. Like, come on, man, that's nothing. And then you have the 5th-year option. So really, essentially, if you were to take on whatever CJ Henderson's contract is at the moment and trade for him, you have him for 4 years without having to renew any contract, re-up any contract. And what are you paying him? At least for the first 3 years, $7.4 million? Well, that's nothing, especially for that type of talent. I'm curious to know, why are they getting rid of him? But again, what is it going to take to get him? I think it depends on what the issues are. If the issues are that they just feel like he's not a fit for what they want to do, then they might be able to get a little bit more for him, because another team is going to be like, well, he fits more for us. If the issues are him as a person and how they feel like he's preparing and taking on just the battle of a transition of having a new coaching staff, then it might be less, because then some people might not want to take on all that. But with the 49ers, one, I want to start by saying this. I know y'all tuned in. With the 49ers, I don't see the 49ers doing this. All right, I don't see the 49ers doing it. And here's my reasoning why. One, anytime you bring in somebody like that, like, you're expecting this guy to come in and play right now. Like, first and foremost, he has to play right now. So when I look at the 49ers, and I see people bringing up Ambry Thomas, obviously Diamador Lenore, who just drafted corners, and you already have Jason Verrett, and you have Emmanuel Mosley, who just came back off the COVID list. When you're the 49ers, are you going to trade for CJ Henderson to automatically 100% play over the other two guys? Right? Are you gonna trade for CJ Henderson and say, all right, we traded for CJ Henderson, who is a top 10 talent in the league, and right now he's gonna play over Emmanuel Mosley or Verrett? Because that has to happen. Because there's no way you give up whatever draft capital it's going to take to get him. There's no way you give up that capital and you don't have the expectations of playing and starting him right now. And there ain't no way that it's just going to be a competition. Can't be a competition. There has to be, I'm giving up this draft capital for this guy to come in and play right now. Whatever that draft capital is that you have to give up. So would the 49ers be willing to do that? Would the 49ers be willing to give up whatever draft capital? And the 49ers already don't have first-round picks for the next 2 years. But would they be willing to just give up a first or maybe even a second to say, you know what, right now we are going to 100% play you over Emmanuel Mosley or Jason Verrett? And I just don't know. And also the 49ers have guys that they just drafted. You got Ambry Thomas. I'm pretty sure they're going to want to let Ambry Thomas either develop, whatever. I think that he has been, it sounds like up and down, and then he's kind of coming along now. It looks like he's coming along late. He's a guy that sat out all last year, so there is context there to where he hasn't been a guy that's been consistently playing, and he's got maybe knocking the rust off a little bit. All right, but you got Ambry Thomas. You just drafted him 3rd round. You just drafted Diamador Lenore 5th round. You kind of got to give those guys a chance. Or are you saying, forget Lenore, forget Ambry Thomas, forget Mosley. We're going to trade this guy, trade for CJ Henderson, and bring this guy in to play over all of y'all. Forget whatever plans that we had. I can't see that happening. I can't. Now I see this here. Can't trust Verrett. And I feel you. He's had these injury issues. Last year he had a really good year, came back, was healthy. All that's awesome. But his track record over the last 5 years has been that of somebody that's been injured. So I agree. You can't. But at the end of the day, right now, he's on fire and he's your best corner. Maybe your best defensive back. So although you maybe can't trust him, do you trade for a guy like CJ Henderson just for insurance in case Verrett gets hurt? Don't think so. Don't think so. This is not an insurance type of deal. This is a we need a corner right now. And I'm not sure 49ers are in position to do that because of how they have everything set up. Now, also, I mean, you never know. Teams have different ways of doing things, but I'd assume that the 49ers had some type of plan. And unless their plan just clearly isn't going to work, or they're seeing it not work out, then real quick, my guy Raheem, I gotta I gotta acknowledge this super chat, man. I appreciate it. In a few years, you will be big. Oh man, that's love. In a few years, can I get my Wi-Fi right? I don't know what's up with this Wi-Fi. I got I don't even know what this brand is, but I'm going to AT&T. We'll see if AT&T can I can have better luck with them because I hate that this Wi-Fi dips in and out, man. It's messing up my product, baby. All right, so we need a corner right now. I don't think so. Now that's not me saying that I don't think that the 49ers can use a starting corner. I'm not saying that. But you have to look at the bigger picture of this. And sometimes as fans, we look at it like, one, no team just has a perfect roster. There's holes on every roster. There's a weakness or a lack of, I guess, depth or whatever, which is even hard to say with the 49ers right now because we don't even know. With the Niners, we don't even know what the reserve guys are. We don't even know what Lenore and Amber Thomas are because we haven't even seen them play in the game. Obviously, in practice, they've been up and down. But again, I talked about the differences between going from college to the NFL, man. It's a drastic difference with everything that you're asked to do from a mental standpoint. It's hard to even just go out there and just play from a mental standpoint at corner. You're not just lining up and playing. Offenses aren't just lining up and playing. These coordinators are really good, and they're going to attack all your weaknesses in the coverage. So with Ambry Thomas and Damador Lenore, you don't know what you have right now, and you low-key got to let it play out. What was the 49ers plan with drafting them? What was the plan with Emmanuel Mosley? Do you throw all that out the window and go and get a CJ Henderson and say, forget what our plan was. This is a talented guy. We're going to go get him regardless, with him coming off of a labrum injury. I don't know. This is Jay Walter. Man, this ain't Madden. You're right. It's not. And even in Madden, I feel like I approach it like real life, man. I kind of go about it in the sense of really developing guys. Like you said, with the corners usually take longer to develop. I trust in this GM right now and picks it. Yeah, like usually corners don't just hit the ground running. I'm telling you, like there's so much thrown at them from the standpoint of how they're attacked and then understanding what their assignments are within the zone. And a lot of times, man, like you start having guys going vertical and crossing, and it's like, oh man, was I supposed to take that? Was I not? You can't play as fast as you would like to play. A lot of times that's their issue. CJ Henderson has all the athleticism. But how is he going to be able to play fast? I mean, yeah, he's fine now, but I'm talking about with the 49ers, who they have. Within Ambry Thomas, who's talented. With Diamador Lenore. We got to see. We got to see about that. Why is he being traded? Man, I think that's the $1 million question, bro. That's the $1 million question. I don't know. Again, had the labrum injury, and if you weren't here when I first got on here, I talked about how they got a new coaching staff. They got new whenever you have a changing in the staff or turnover, it's like, bro, we didn't draft you. And then what they do, they went out, they signed Griffin, paid him a bunch of money, the corner from Seattle. Went out, drafted Tyson Campbell, made him the first pick in the second round. All right. So I don't know what's going on, but it seems like maybe there was something there's something that I'm trying to read between the tea leaves here. And I don't know. They might just not like CJ Henderson. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes there's a personality clash. Sometimes maybe the way that Urban Meyer comes in and wants to do things doesn't match up with CJ Henderson. Maybe CJ Henderson's like, bro, like, I don't fuck with y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just never know. You never know what the issue is sometimes, man. You never know. So I don't know why he's being traded. But I do know one thing. I'm usually not wrong on my evaluation of the talent. Now, the fit might throw things off. How guys utilize that might throw things off. Like I said earlier in this stream, I did feel like CJ Henderson would have been a better fit for what Detroit was doing. Now, again, both teams have, and I thought Okuda would have been better for what Jacksonville was doing. But again, both teams, they got rid of the coaching staffs. So we'll see how things kind of change for either one of those. But as far as CJ Henderson, I don't know, man. I don't know. If an injury occurs, I don't see why K1 can't play CB2. I've never even ever seen him on the outside. It's like they've never even tried it. So I would assume that he is somebody that can play outside, but they just have not done it at all. All right, bro. Bro has only played 1 year. If you think CJ a better prospect than Mosley, Thomas, and Lenore, then you got to do it, especially for a second. He on the same time. I from that standpoint, man, I like the way you're thinking. I like the way you're thinking, and I tend to Jamal Armstrong. Is that the one I played with? Is that my saber cat buddy? But anyways, I agree from that standpoint of just like he's more talented. But what is your plan? What's the plan? And I think that's the part that the 49ers are gonna have to figure out. Did you ever have a plan for Ambry Thomas or Lenore? Did you ever see like high upside? I know that there were some people that felt like Ambry Thomas would have been a higher pick if he would have played last year, but he opted out. And there were a lot of people that felt like he would have been higher. I remember talking to Jim Nagy, who's over the Senior Bowl, and Jim Nagy was saying how, oh, okay, Armstrong from Spaces. Okay, yeah, I know exactly who you are. What's good, bro? But I remember Jim Nagy was like, he was going to be their number one player if he had came back. Number one player, number one corner, number one corner on their board. So there were people that really liked Ambry Thomas. So with Ambry Thomas, there can just be that development aspect of it, that it just has to come along. I saw some limitations in Ambry Thomas's skill set. It really kind of showed up against Alabama. You ever want to know how good someone is or where they're really at? Watch them against Alabama. And you'll start to see some things Man, Croc, what happened to Taylor? He tore his ACL in the Rams game. Which Taylor? Oh, Taylor, he was playing slot for the 49ers, number 47. I think he's just a free agent now. He was playing well though, huh? And there were a lot of people that were like, man, who is this guy? Man, get him out of here. He played well. What's this? We got one. All right, let's look at this right here. Man, I appreciate the contribution, Vince. Is the timing for this bad because training camp is already 2 weeks in and they didn't know the scheme or no? So it really just depends. Now let's talk about 49ers scheme a little bit, and I'll keep this up here. I appreciate the contribution. 49ers have been a primarily single high, they call it a cover 3 scheme, but it's really not like pure cover 3. All right. You have man principles within the cover 3 that they were running. And we're talking about what Saleh originally came and ran, right? It was that Seattle scheme. And everybody calls Richard Sherman a zone corner, which he is technically a zone corner, but the way that they ran their zone is not it's a match. So you match vertical moves. All right. So that's why if you go and you watch a lot of those Seattle games with Richard Sherman and even a lot of, with him at the 49ers, but you see those corners pressed up a lot. Now, even though you see single high and press, it doesn't mean that it's man. It doesn't mean that it's cover 3. But at the snap, a lot of times you can kind of tell, you look at the linebackers and their drops, but the corners were really responsible for vertical to outside passes, routes, excuse me. So you could see, you see a lot of man principles in it, but then there were certain things that they could drop off from coverage and didn't have to cover. So that's the difference between that and like a typical single high man type scheme. Now that's what the 49ers were initially, and they've kind of gone away from that a little bit. All right. Over last year, I saw them definitely implement a lot more quarters defense, which you typically have guys play a little bit more off coverage. And if you look at the 49ers corners, what they did, they did play a lot more quarters, a lot more cover 4. You can play quarters from press alignment though. And I saw it was Ambry Thomas when I was watching his Michigan film. He would play quarters or maybe cover 2 as well from press alignment. You can definitely do that. But as far as CJ Henderson, I think he fits that. They ran a lot of that at Florida. I think he was just fine doing that. All right, here we go. Someone mentioned Rashard Robinson. Bro was a big bust. He got toasted all the time. Okay, I don't want to go back in a time machine, but Rashard Robinson, he was interesting. One, I don't think you could call him a bust because he was a 4th round pick. And it's interesting where he was taken because even though he was a 4th round pick, he was a guy that didn't even play the year before, got kicked out of LSU or whatever the case is. So I only played like 1 year really or something crazy like that. So I can't call Rashad Robinson a bust. As far as him getting like toasted all the time, I don't think so. I don't think that was Rashad Robinson's issues. I think Rashad Robinson's problems was, one, he definitely committed too many penalties. And then two, off the field. I don't know how focused he was. Matter of fact, I know he wasn't very focused because I had a buddy on the team at the time. And he would tell me all about Rashad Robinson and some wild stuff. I'm not going to, repeat that on social media, but he wasn't very focused. So that's Rashad Robinson's issue. And sometimes those are the things you don't know when, a guy has talent, but how focused is he? So, those are things that you kind of got to deal with. Yeah, the penalties and off the field issues. Those were the biggest issues that he dealt with. All right, let's look at it a little bit more. I probably won't be on here too much longer because my Wi-Fi is tripping. So anytime the Wi-Fi is tripping, I'll be trying to get up out of here. I'm gonna fix it, I promise. Anyways, regardless, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've got 140 of y'all in here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I promise it won't be blurry like this all the time. I'm getting new Wi-Fi put in. All right, but subscribe. Hit the like button right now. Also, if you haven't already, download Underdog Fantasy app. When you deposit $10, they throw in an additional $25 into your account when you use promo code Crocky. All right, promo code Crocky, Underdog Fantasy. Make sure y'all do that, man. But yeah, I know too much words on killing your wife. Hey, I know I've done a lot of talking about different things, man, but ultimately what it comes down to is I think that CJ Henderson is definitely terrific. I just find it a little difficult for the 49ers to trade for him because of where they're at. Again, I have to know their plan. Like, what is their plan? Or are they already out on guys that they just drafted a couple months ago? I can't see that. I can't see that happening. Here we go. Thanks for your insight. Love hearing you talk about the game. I appreciate it. I just love talking about football, man. I just love talking about it. You seem very intelligent. All right, there we go. Intelligent love from the faithful. Let's go, man. Let's go. So any more questions y'all got before I get out of here? Smash the like button. Yes, sir. Please do. Smash the like button. Any more questions? If I had more time, I would get on here and I would throw in the invite thing and let y'all come on here and speak y'all piece. Matter of fact, I'll get one person on. All right, I'll get one person on. Here we go. So if you want to come on, I'll be blurry. You'll still be clear. All right. Go ahead, click the link right there, and you can join whatever you want to talk about. We'll talk about that. All right. So y'all let me know. Appreciate y'all for hitting that sub button. I'm telling you, man, I gotta fix this Wi-Fi, man. It's tripping right now. But yeah, CJ Henderson, I love the talent. I love the ability. I think he actually fit extremely well what the 49ers are currently doing. Where the 49ers are at, going with their defense, they transition into more of a quarters team. I think he can do that extremely well, especially if you allow him to play it from press coverage. I think he can mirror match guys. 49ers, a lot of people have asked, is Jason Verrett going to start shadowing guys? If Verrett going to shadow guys, who's going to shadow guys? I don't think that Verrett is a guy that's going to shadow guys, but I think if you have CJ Henderson, he's definitely someone that can take on that responsibility. I don't think any type of skill set is too much for CJ Henderson. So that's just my opinion. But I appreciate y'all. Again, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. I'm going to get up out of here. I appreciate everybody for coming in here. I'm going to get this Wi-Fi fixed, man. But until then, I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Aaron Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Croc Talk TV podcast. Peace.